Take all cleaned up. Else we got the old one out. Now it'll be time. That's 3 times in a row. Hey everyone, Tim here, Headgear Garage. Hey, today's project, we're bringing the cheap Juke back in. I know what you're thinking. Tim, you said you sold the Juke. And you would be right, I did. I did sell the Juke. However, when I sold it, since I'm not into selling junk, I told the guy that if you happen to have an issue with it, let me know. You can bring it back over here and we'll see if we can't get that issue resolved. Well, guess what? We had an issue. Nothing major, but it is a kind of a pain issue. It seems like the starter, the solenoid on the starter has gone out. So in order to do that, we have to tear a lot of parts out of that little Juke. They're just a miserable thing to get to the starter. But either way, he's got a new starter. He's on his way. So as soon as he gets here, we'll get this baby up onto the lift if we have to and start tearing into it. We'll figure out what we got to do. It looks like actually we're pretty much going to take the intake manifold off, and then we should be able to get it from the top, but if we have to, we'll throw it up in the air maybe to reach something from the bottom, but we'll kind of play that by ear. We're not really sure. It's the first time we're doing this. Guy who bought the vehicle, his name is Rick. He is good with us recording this. Really nice guy, so looking forward to the video. Hopefully you guys all enjoy it. So as soon as that baby gets here, we're going to tear into it. So while we wait for Rick to arrive with the Juke, I've had a few people ask me about the name of the show and the logo that you see on my shirts. So here's the logo and the name, obviously, you're on Headgear Garage. As you can see, Headgear Garage refers to the mounts hanging in the garage. These mounts are a combination of deer that were shot by either myself or my brother. In January of 2023, I lost my brother almost 2 years ago. And when I did, he had a shop behind his, he called it the barn, behind his house. And he had all his deer mounts and actually all of my deer mounts up there. And when we lost him, I collected all the mounts, most of them actually. I gave a couple to some friends or family that were close with him. He was an avid deer hunter, and I used to be. I'm not as much anymore, but either way, as a tribute to my brother, I came up with the name Headgear Garage. And then if you'll look real tight here, the name on the deer is Moose, which this is a deer named a Moose. Well, that was my brother's nickname. He was a larger than life fella. As I said, we lost him in January 2023, almost 2 years ago now. And we lost him at the age of 55, currently the age I am. He was 2 years older than me. So, any questions about the name? That's where it came from and how we came up with it. I do have stickers made the same way too, decals that I had made up with the same exact photo on them. So that's the name. That's how we got it. I hope you enjoyed the story. So as soon as Rick gets here with the Juke, we'll get to tearing into it. All right, there she is. She's back in the shop. We got her hooked to the lift in case. Here's the new owner, Rick. He's bringing her back. As I said, we promised if there was issues, we're going to fix them, and he came to help. We're going to fix them. So we're going to get started. I'm going to set you guys up here, and we'll just see where we get to. Okay, so what we're doing here, our plan of attack is to eventually take the intake manifold off, which should give us complete access into the starter. Or at least much better access without having to remove the front bumper. So we're currently working on taking off the soft and hard lines for the intercooler. And then I did disconnect the negative battery terminal here as well, so we know we're good with that for later when we get down to the starter. As we move through this, we will also be removing some hard lines off of the top of the intake, just that are bolted onto it. They're just vacuum lines, but we'll unbolt them and then we just disconnect them in one spot. We can fold them up and out of the way. The
the commentary as far as on the video itself, not the greatest, so I'll just try to explain as we go like this. So yeah, hopefully you're enjoying it so far. Let's keep moving forward, and we'll get dug down into the bottom of this real soon.
All right, so far we took the intake off for the turbo and the throttle body. It is sitting right here. Rick's flying into her. He's getting her done. So our next goal is to actually get the intake itself, instead of the intake tubes, the intake itself off, and we're hoping it can just... You guys are learning with us on this one, so stand by for the adventure. They definitely do not give you any room in this car.
Hey, man. Yeah, you hear people swearing at them in the videos.
Okay, so what's going on here is we're discussing there's a coolant line that connects from that filler neck right there down to the throttle body. So we're looking at what we can do to get that popped off there without making any kind of a terrible mess out of things. So yeah, Rick's going to pop the cap off here in a second just to make sure that there's no excessive pressure. There won't be, but there shouldn't be, because the engine is cool at this point, so it shouldn't have pressure built up like that. But just in case, we went this route. And then I grab one of those little kits that I got at Harbor Freight that just has all the little plastic, or the little silicone caps. So we can cap the line coming out of that filler neck and then push a plug into the hose itself. So it ends up working out extremely well. We probably dropped a couple drops of coolant out of that altogether. So I mean, it worked smashingly well. So pretty happy with the way this turns out. Okay, so here we have the throttle body all unbolted, but the plug in it is kind of being a little fiddly with us. We're struggling to get it unhooked. It's sadly taking two of us to get that thing unplugged from there. But we'll get it here in a second and get that throttle body up and out of the way.
Got the throttle bodies pulled off, set back up out of the way. Rick is working on getting the lines unhooked from the intake now. He's got the bolts pulled. He's working on some hose clamps.
Okay, so the last bolt on that intake manifold is just kind of buried down here on the driver's side of the intake. It's a struggle to get to, but it's not impossible. It just takes a little extra effort. Rick does get a hold of it, and then we get it pulled out of there, so the intake's ready to come off. there's our culprit. So we got the starter bolts loose. What we're trying is we're going to take the starter out, bring it out here where we can see it, and then disconnect the wires to it. We do have the battery disconnected, so we're not going to be shooting sparks everywhere.
I'm not gonna be starting it.
Yeah, we're not going to try to shock ourselves to. But those starter bolts, they were definitely in there. Good hefty bolt.
They didn't want it to fall out.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, we got the old one out. Now it'll be time to see if we can get the new one in. Okay. Look pretty similar. I don't see any. Yeah, no, I think we're good. I don't see anything that's jumping out as different. That. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm sure, you know, it's an Amazon part. I'm sure it's a OEM. Probably straight from Nissan, right?
That thing fits. I can't tell you how many things that starter fits.
Oh, yeah?
It's Chevys. Some Chevy. It fits.
Okay. Turn. Down under. Turn back. Okay. We're getting her in there. Drawing a wire down here. There we go. Oh, probably should have. So far, so good. Started twice. Yeah, that's 3 times in a row. No issues. I don't see any leaks. By golly. Okay. So, you know, fingers
toes, whatever you can cross, that was our final issue with this little baby. Just a few years of neglect, working it out. As you guys know, I fought with this thing with a MAP sensor, a mass airflow sensor code, to the point where I replaced the mass airflow sensor, and then I replaced the PCV valve down under here. I got it to quit, and then right after Rick got it, he ended up getting another one, and it turned out to be right here. This original squeeze clamp was so loose that this, on both the sides, that he just ended up putting the regular hose clamps on there, clamping it down, clearing the code, and it's been running pretty good without a code lately then?
I haven't had the code since
probably
day 2.
Okay, so again, fingers crossed and everything else. Now the other side is Rick can explain this better, but when he first got the car, we had an issue with it starting, and then it fired up, and I thought it was a bad battery in the key fob. Well then, so he changed that out, and it didn't help anything. It didn't change anything, so he messed around and fixed switches on the brake.
I tore both brake switches apart to check them to make sure the contacts were working right, and they were working perfectly. And I also found that there was a breaker, the brake breaker, I'll call it relay, which is that guy right there. This is a new one, but the old one I have at home was like brown, like it was hot. So I assumed the breaker was weak, but that wasn't it either.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that wasn't weak.
Right. Well, it's like the issues I found, like the PCV valve was bad.
Right.
So it wasn't part of the issue, but it wasn't the whole issue.
Exactly.
So this thing has been just a conglomerate of little issues adding up to just constant wanting to throw codes. But so far, seems like we're getting there now. And now, hopefully, the starter solves the last of the issues for them, and they can just drive the snot out of this little car.
Yeah, other than that, it runs perfectly.
I mean, he's kept it clean. My cars are all filthy right now because, the weather is just awful.
We don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, this time of year, I don't like to go anywhere either. But yeah, so far, I mean, like I said, we're going to keep the fingers and toes and whatever you can crossed. And hopefully that resolves it. But if it doesn't, we'll bring her back in and try her again. All right, everybody. It's been about a week. I'm happy to report back that the starter install on the Juke here seems to have done the trick. Rick contacted me, said it's been starting perfectly, first time every time. Only issue we had is it went into a limp mode right after we installed that. Kind of our fault for not letting it run for a while and then checking and clearing any codes. He did. He went in and hooked up his computer, cleared the codes. It was fine. Kind of expected because we did disconnect a lot of those vacuum lines, and that had a pressure reduce on a lot of those. So when the computer got those, it kind of went a little funky on them. But once he got everything cleared, it's been running great, he said. So, again, like I said, fingers crossed. Everything now is good on. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. If you like the video, please consider smashing that like button. The more we get on those, the more the algorithm likes it, the more it sends that video out to other people. Also, if you don't want to miss out on any future content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We love to get new subscribers. We're trying to reach a goal of 1,000. We haven't got there yet. That's our first goal, and then we hope to keep going after that. But either way, hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Tim, Headgear Garage. We're out.